We're live from New Delhi, watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Modi is set to embark on two nations visit to UK and Maldives. Will hold talks with UK counterpart in London on key issues, also to attend Maldives Independence Day as the guest of honour. India extends medical assistance to Bangladesh to send a team of burn specialist doctors and nurses to treat the Dhaka jet crash victims. Trump announces massive trade deal with Japan with 15% tariffs. Deal includes $550 billion of Japanese investments in the US. Trump also announces trade deal with Philippines and Indonesia, slaps 19% tariffs on exports, US goods to face zero duties. And in cricket, India to take on England in a do-or-die fourth test at Old Trafford to level the series. And on to the details now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to embark on a two-nation visit to the United Kingdom and Maldives on Wednesday. During his visit to UK, the Prime Minister will hold talks with his counterpart Keir Starmer in London on key issues. Prime Minister Modi is also expected to meet King Charles III. On the second leg of his two-nation visit, Prime Minister Modi will attend Maldives Independence Day as the guest of honour and strengthen regional partnership with President Monsoon.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit the UK on 23rd and 24th of July at the invitation of British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. This marks Prime Minister Modi's fourth official UK visit. The two leaders are expected to discuss India-UK ties, regional and global issues, and review progress on the comprehensive strategic partnership focusing on trade, technology, defense, climate, health, education, and cultural exchanges. Prime Minister Modi is also expected to meet King Charles III.
The UK is also the sixth largest investor in India with a cumulative investment of $36 billion. And interestingly, India itself is a large source of foreign direct investment in the UK with a cumulative investment of close to $20 billion. There are close to 1,000 Indian companies in the UK that provide employment to nearly 100,000 people.
After United Kingdom, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Maldives on 25th and 26th of July at the invitation of President Mohammad Muizzu. This is Prime Minister Modi's third visit to Maldives and the first by a foreign leader during Muizzu's presidency. Prime Minister Modi will be the guest of honour at Maldives' 60th Independence Day on 26th of July. He will meet President Muizzu to discuss key issues and review the progress on the India-Maldives economic and maritime security partnership.
India is one of the largest trading partners of the Maldives. Both countries are in discussions to negotiate a free trade agreement and an investment treaty as well. And new areas of cooperation, including renewable energy, fisheries, etc., are also being worked on.
The visit highlights Maldives' significance in India's neighborhood-first policy and India's vision of Mahasagar. In essence, both visits aim to strengthen strategic partnerships, celebrate key national milestones, and reinforce India's diplomatic priorities in Europe and the Indian Ocean region. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is headed for the United Kingdom for a two-day visit on July 23rd and 24th. The two nations became comprehensive strategic partners in 2021, and the Prime Minister's fourth visit to the United Kingdom since 2014 is expected to be another occasion to further enhance the already extensive bilateral relations.
India and United Kingdom ties extend through centuries, but of late have been scaling new heights. Trade neared $55 billion in 2023-24, and cooperation in the fields of energy, security, technology, climate, and other critical areas has also been rising. all aspects of the relations are expected to get a fresh fillip now with Prime Minister's latest visit.
The Prime Minister will be embarking on an official visit to the United Kingdom tomorrow, the 23rd of July, for discussions during the visit with the Right Honourable Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And during the visit, he will also call on His Majesty King Charles III. There is also during the visit interaction that is planned with business leaders both from India and the United Kingdom. This will be Prime Minister's fourth visit to the United Kingdom since assuming office. He has visited previously in 2015 and 2018, and he was there in 2021 for the COP26 summit in Glasgow.
India and the UK have also been working on an over 2,000-page long trade pact since 2022. On the 6th of May, the Prime Ministers of two nations had announced the conclusion of all negotiations, indicating that a formalization is close at hand.
There was a conversation on the 6th of May between the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister of the UK, where an announcement had been made that the two sides had concluded negotiations on a free trade agreement and other issues. Since then, the two sides have been in very close touch with each other.
During his two-day UK stay, Prime Minister Modi will call on King Charles III, and he will also meet business representatives while having an informal interaction with members of the Indian diaspora.
A review of the comprehensive strategic partnership is also on the cards, but in times of conflict as well as tariff and trade tensions, when the leaders of the two major democracies in the world will meet, it will also send out a clear message of openness, cooperation and stability. With camera person Sanjay Jaina, Gautam Roy, London, UK, DD India.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a two-day United Kingdom tour starting on Wednesday. He'll be calling on King Charles III and holding a bilateral meeting with his UK counterpart Keir Starmer on Thursday. DD India's Gautam Roy has spoken with India's High Commissioner to UK, Vikram Doraiswamy, about the prospects of the visit, including the much-anticipated Free Trade Pact and how it will enhance the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two nations. Listen in.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on his fourth visit to the United Kingdom from the 23rd to the 24th of July. India and the UK have extensive relations. This is a comprehensive bilateral partnership. How is it going to be expanded further this time round? Let's find out from Vikram Doraiswamy. He's India's High Commissioner to the UK. Thank you for joining us, High Commissioner. What can you tell us about the agenda this time round for the Prime Minister?
Well, this is a short but very focused visit. The Prime Minister's agenda is really to push the relationship to the next level. The focus is on essentially taking forward the relationship on core verticals that we see as forward-looking, futuristic pillars of the relationship. So that includes the technology domain, where the UK and India have been strong partners on something called the Technology Security Initiative, which was launched last year. We are also partners on developing our trade relationship, which has been growing along at a pretty steady pace. We also look at education as a major part of the mix. As you probably know, not only do we have a large number of students here, we also have the largest number possibly of universities opening campuses in India from the UK. I think the idea that India is now open for partnerships with quality universities to meet the enormous demand for high quality education that Indians have traditionally had, I think that's an important part of the piece.
The India-UK Trade Pact has been in the works since 2022, and there's been a lot of speculation around it. Is it on the anvil this time around in this trip, the formalization of it?
Well, look, I mean, the trade ministers announced the completion of formal negotiations. We are engaged in a last-minute sprint to complete all of the legal scrubbing and paperwork that goes into it. Let's not anticipate what the Prime Minister will do. Let the Prime Minister come here and then we take that forward.
All in all, what kind of a message do you think the leaders of these two countries, two democracies which have extensive links, not just through the present times, but going back centuries, would be sending out to the world in the kind of times that we live in, where you not only have conflicts in different parts of the world and all kinds of barriers coming up, even when it comes to the movement of people. And India and UK have very vibrant ties there, 1.8 billion strong diaspora here.
I think the message that we'd like to convey, that the leadership would like to convey, is that fourth largest economy in the world and the sixth largest economy in the world are doing business together, that we see the process of making it easier to do business, making it easier to invest in each other's country, making it easier for legal and practical means of having qualified people travel to each other's countries and thereby support businesses. All of these are good things, and that's a message in and of itself.
Great. Thank you for speaking to DD India, High Commissioner.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, the United Kingdom has a 1.8 million strong Indian diaspora, which is looking forward to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. DD India's Gautam Roy has spoken with Lord Rami Rangair, member of House of Lords, a well-known businessman of Indian origin and a Conservative Party politician, about the expectations of the Indian community in the United Kingdom with this trip. Listen in.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on his fourth visit to the UK since 2014, on the 23rd and the 24th of July, and a lot of anticipation is built into this visit. With us is Lord Remy Ranger of Mayfair to talk about it. What can you tell us about your assessment of the tie so far, and what do you expect from this visit?
This will be a mother of all trade deals, because this will be between the oldest democracy and the largest democracies of the world, sharing equal values.
Is that sort of a message that you expect the two leaders to send out as well when Prime Minister Modi meets Prime Minister Starmer?
Well, India is playing already a very important role in fighting against terrorism. The Quad is a proof that they value India's security. India is doing what the civilized world want to do. So therefore, the Prime Minister Starmer will be overjoyed to receive Prime Minister Modi, the most popular and the most decorated Prime Minister in the world, who has been honored not only by Shia Iran but also Sunni Saudi Arabia. That just shows you diplomacy. He's not only respected by Putin, but he's also respected by Trump. Yes. So two rivals, they envy. That just shows that we play a center stage. We don't want to join any groups. We are master of our own destiny, and therefore our contribution to the world will be balanced, collaborated, and just equitable. For the last 10 years, ever since Modi ji come, we say with pride, I'm Indian. What? Everybody now says, I'm Indian. Even the Pakistani friends say we're Indian.
Well, let's hope that Prime Minister Modi this time around, along with his counterpart Keir Starmer, lead to a more heady and fruitful relationship between India and the United Kingdom. With cameraperson Jaina, Gautam Roy, London, DD India.
And still to come in DD India News Hour. India extends ban on Pakistani aircraft from entering its airspace till August 23rd. Stay with us as we get you ahead. All the legislative business lined up for passage in both sessions of Parliament today. And we also get you a quick roundup of weather fury in different parts of the world.
This week on Defense Dynamics, India flexes its missile muscle. 3 major test firings in just 24 hours. What's the message? Apache helicopters roar into Jodhpur, India's strike power on the Western Front. Neoma airfield in Ladakh to get commissioned soon. Why it is being called India's strategic launchpad in the Himalayas. And sectarian clashes erupt in Syria. What's fueling the Druze-Bedouin conflict? Catch it all this Wednesday at 8 p.m. IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. And moving on the third day of a month-long monsoon session of Indian Parliament, the Upper House to take the Coastal Shipping Bill 2025 for consideration and passing. The bill to consolidate and amend the law relating to regulation of coastal shipping, promote coasting trade and encourage domestic participation. The National Sports Governance Bill 2025 to be introduced in the lower house of the Parliament, bill to provide for the development and promotion of sports, welfare measures for sports persons. The National Anti-Doping Amendment Bill 2025 to be introduced in the House, bill to amend the National Anti-Doping Act 2022. The Merchant Shipping Bill 2024 will be taken up for consideration and passing, bill to consolidate and amend the law relating to merchant shipping to ensure compliance with India's obligation under the maritime treaties and international instruments to which India is a party. Earlier, both houses of Indian Parliament faced major disruptions on Tuesday on the second day of the monsoon session amid opposition protest. And for more on the Parliament, we have DD India's Debyendu Mondal joining us. Well, Debyendu, give us a gist of what transpired yesterday and what all is expected today in both the houses.
Well, Lipakshi, the first 2 days have literally been a washout in the Parliament, given the fact that there have been constant protest and disruption that has been seen inside both the houses of Parliament, including the lower as well as the upper house. Yesterday, we saw that the Parliament barely functioned for 15 minutes to the max of about 20 minutes to the max. Because the opposition kept jumping into the well and disrupting the proceedings of the House. After which, at about 2 p.m. when the House tried to reconvene, in fact, even the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju also appealed to the opposition parties to let the House function because the primary demand of the opposition, which was a debate and discussion on Operation Sindoor, have been met. And the Lok Sabha has dedicated 18 long hours for debate and discussion on that issue. But despite that, Lipakshi, the opposition did not relent. The protest continued and the House was finally adjourned to reconvene at 11 a.m. this morning. Even today, both the Houses of Parliament have listed in their list of business as well as in the revised list of business important bills such as the Sports Governance Bill, the Merchant Shipping Bill, as well as the Anti-Doping Bill that will be taken up for discussion. But it will be interesting to see if both the Houses of Parliament functions well today, and the opposition parties allow the government to take up businesses in both the houses of Parliament. Because remember, Lipakshi, both the Lok Sabha as well as the Rajya Sabha have seen similar kind of disruption and protest in the well of the House by the opposition leaders, demanding multiple issues from the government. But however, the government says that they have addressed most of the demands in the BSc meeting that was already held on Monday. Lipakshi.
All right. Debyendu, also, what all is expected today? Which bills are expected today to be presented in both the houses?
Well, Lipakshi, as I said, there are three key bills in the lower house that is going to be taken up for discussion. One is the sports bill, the other is the merchant shipping bill, and the third one is the anti-doping bill. The Sports Affairs, Youth and Sports Minister Monsoon is expected to lay to the table of the House the bill and introduce the bill. This bill aims, the sports, particularly the sports bill, what it aims to do is, bring in welfare measures for the sports personalities as well as build infrastructure for better sportsmen, for better training of the sportsmen in India. And also it will help to regulate the multiple organizations that the sporting community or the sporting domain has. As well as the anti-doping bill is concerned, it is also a very important bill that the government is trying to bring in. This also concerns the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports and also the merchant shipping bill. It is from the Ministry of Shipping, Ports and Waterways. Sarbananda Sonowal is likely to introduce that bill in the lower house. And, having said all of this, Lipakshi, it is very, very important at the moment to see if the monsoon session's third day is not a washout again like what we have witnessed in the first 2 days, because the government have been trying to bring in key legislative businesses in both the houses of Parliament. But despite the government's repeated appeal to the opposition parties, holding BSc meetings, with the opposition parties, floor leaders of different political parties to bring them on table. And the government has repeatedly said that, the government will be listening to all the demands of the opposition parties, but let the House function because it is an important, part of the parliamentary democracy where Parliament functioning is absolutely crucial to the healthy governance of the country, and therefore
Absolutely.
the government have been trying to push in, but of course despite the stormy start of the monsoon session of Parliament, all eyes at 11 o'clock when the House reconvenes.
All right, so the House should function smoothly. Thank you so much, Devyendu, for all those details for today. And moving on, extending India's full support to Bangladesh following the country's worst air disaster in decades. India is sending a team of burn specialists and medical staff to Dhaka to assist victims of Monday's deadly fighter jet crash that killed at least 31 people, most of them children. The Indian team will conduct an initial assessment of the patient's condition and provide recommendations for further treatment, including potential transfer to India for specialized care. The MEA also noted that additional medical teams may be deployed based on the findings of the preliminary assessment. Well, the fatal crash occurred on Monday when an F-7 BGI training jet of the Bangladesh Air Force plummeted into a Monsoon school and college campus in the capital's Diyarbakir locality during a routine sortie. The impact triggered a massive fire and scenes of widespread panic, with terrified students and staff fleeing for safety. And India strongly rebutted Pakistan's renewed attempt to internationalize the Kashmir issue and raise objections over the Indus Waters Treaty at the United Nations Security Council. India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador P. Harish, in a statement at the UN Security Council high-level open debate on promoting international peace and security through multilateralism and peaceful settlement of dispute, reiterated India's stand on terrorism. He said that Pakistan steeped in fanaticism and terrorism and a serial borrower from the IMF.
On the one hand, there is India, which is a mature democracy, a surging economy, and a pluralistic and inclusive society. At the other extreme is Pakistan, steeped in fanaticism and terrorism, and a serial borrower from the IMF. As we debate promoting international peace and security, it is essential to recognize that there are some fundamental principles which need to be universally respected. One of them is zero tolerance for terrorism. It ill behoves a member of the Council to offer homilies while indulging in practices that are unacceptable to the international community.
Meanwhile, India has extended the ban on Pakistani aircraft from entering the domestic airspace till August 23rd. India's Minister of State for Civil Aviation, Muralidhar Mohol, in a social media post stated that the notice to airmen restricting Pakistani aircraft from entering Indian airspace has been officially extended until 23rd of August 2025. He further added that this extension reflects continued strategic considerations and is in line with prevailing security protocols. And moving on, the Indian Air Force will conduct a major military exercise today, July 23rd, across Rajasthan's Barmer to Jodhpur near the Pakistani border. Frontline jets like Rafale, Mirage 2000 and Sukhoi 30 will take part, along with air defense systems and night operations. A NOTAM has been issued to clear civilian airspace. The drill follows Pakistan's 413 drone attacks during Operation Sindoor, all of which were successfully intercepted. The two-day exercise, set to continue until July 25th, aims to strengthen India's combat readiness and enhance air defense amid rising cross-border tensions. And now it's time for some weather updates from around the globe. In India, heavy rainfall is expected this week in the southern region, especially in parts of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana and coastal Andhra Pradesh. West and central India, including Madhya, Maharashtra, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh, may see intense showers through July 28th. Surface winds reaching 40 to 50 km per hour will likely sweep across South Peninsular India over the next 5 days. Thunderstorms with lightning are forecast in Bihar, Odisha and northeast states, especially Meghalaya, on July 23rd. Meanwhile, Delhiites woke up to a rainy morning as heavy rain lashed several parts of Delhi NCR on Wednesday morning. Light rain was also reported from Gurugram, while the Indian Meteorological Department has issued an orange alert for more showers across Delhi through the day. The Weather Department forecast also indicated that light rain will continue through the week, with the weather conditions expected to remain similar until July 28th. Well, climate change is visibly impacting Nepal, with the Tarai region facing severe drought, while other areas experience heavy rainfall, causing floods and landslides. In Tarai, the provincial government had declared Madhya province a drought-prone area. The Centre for Crop Development and Agro-Biodiversity Conservation said only 72% of paddy fields in the Tarai have been planted so far. The Department of Roads has identified damage at 227 locations nationwide, with some roads now operating as one-way due to the impact. Also, heavy rains flooded southern Mexico City on Monday, prompting rescue teams to assist stranded drivers and clear blocked drains. The city's civil protection agency issued a yellow alert as heavy downpours affected numerous neighborhoods. Police officers helped motorists escape from vehicles trapped on waterlogged roads and towards cars stranded in flooded streets. According to the National Autonomous University of Mexico, since the start of the season on May 15th, 6 tropical cyclones have formed in rapid succession, a frequency described as highly unusual. Meanwhile, soaring temperatures gripped the wider Balkan region on Tuesday, fueling wildfires in Albania. Albanian firefighters battled a wildfire using aerial and ground resources to combat the blaze in challenging terrain. National Agency of Civil Protection deployed drones equipped with thermal cameras to assist in planning and coordinating firefighting efforts. Wildfires in the Northern National Park and near Dukat village in the southwest were fought by firefighters, aided by 4 aircraft from Italy and Greece. Albanian National Agency of Civil Protection shared thermal imaging and aerial views showing the extent of the blaze in Dukat, with clouds of smoke rising from forested areas. The footage reveals multiple active fire spots spreading across the landscape. And in other news, the Minister of State for External Affairs Ministry, Pabitra Margarita, met Prime Minister of Lesotho, Samuel Matekane, on the second leg of his 3-nation visit. Both leaders held meaningful discussions on deepening India-Lesotho bilateral cooperation across key sectors. Margarita also called on King Letsie III of Lesotho in Maseru. The two sides discussed the ways to further enhance a bilateral partnership and cooperation in matters of mutual interest. Well, during the first leg of his visit, the minister in Eswatini paid a courtesy call on King Mswati III and the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Eswatini. Margarita held meetings with the Foreign Minister of Eswatini to discuss matters of mutual interest and review the progress of bilateral relations. Union Minister of State for External Affairs Pabitra Margarita is on official visit to the Kingdom of Eswatini, the Kingdom of Lesotho and the Republic of South Africa from 18th to the 25th of July. Well, still to come on DD India News Hour. Addressing demands for zero-calorie affordable drinks, CocaCola to launch a new drink made with cane sugar in the US. CBS parent company Paramount pays $16 million as part of a lawsuit settlement filed by Trump on former Vice President Kamala Harris. Interview aired on 60 Minutes program. After braving Parkinson's disease since 2019, Ozzy Osbourne, the legendary frontman of heavy metal group Black Sabbath, passes away at the age of 76.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says, supply creates its own demand, between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Prime Minister Modi is set to embark on two-nation visit to UK and Maldives. Will hold talks with UK counterpart in London on key issues. Also to attend Maldives Independence Day as the guest of honour. India extends medical assistance to Bangladesh to send a team of burn specialist doctors and nurses to treat the Dhaka jet crash victims. Trump announces massive trade deal with Japan with 15% tariffs. Deal includes $550 billion of Japanese investments in the US. Trump also announces trade deals with Philippines and Indonesia, slaps 19% tariffs on exports, US goods to face zero duties. And in cricket, India to take on England in the do-or-die fourth test at Old Trafford to level the series. And moving on, US President Donald Trump on Tuesday announced a trade deal with Japan that includes a 15% tariff that will be levied on US imports from the country. The plan will result in Japan investing $550 billion into the US and paying a 15% reciprocal tariff. While speaking at an event at the White House, Trump said that Japan will form a joint venture with the US for LNG in Alaska. Trump added that representatives from the European Union are coming for trade negotiations with the United States on Wednesday.
Deal in history, I think maybe the largest deal in history with Japan. And that was done with Japan. They had their top people here, and we worked on it long and hard, and it's a great deal for everybody. And I said to the Japanese trade representatives, and these were the top people, we concluded the one deal, Doug, and now we're going to conclude another one because they're forming a joint venture with us in Alaska, as you know, for the LNG.
Well, earlier in a post on the Truth Social, Trump said that Japan will open its economy to US goods, including with cars, trucks, rice and certain agricultural products. Trump's post made no mention of easing tariffs on Japanese automobiles. In a letter sent to Japan this month, Trump threatened a 25% tariff on the country's exports to the US if there wasn't a new trade deal struck before 1st of August. Also, Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba said on Wednesday that the U.S. auto tariffs would be cut to 15% from 25% after the two countries reached a trade deal. Talking to media, the Japanese Prime Minister said the two sides agreed to halve the additional 25% tariff rate imposed on cars and car parts since April to 15%, which includes the 2.5% previously in place. He further added that Japan is the worst country in the world to reduce tariffs on automobiles and auto parts with no limits on volumes. And Tokyo stocks jumped more than 3% on Wednesday, led by gains in auto stocks. The benchmark Nikkei rallied 3.18% to 41,040.66 yen, while the broader Topix index gained 3.11% to 2,924.42 yen. Japanese auto stocks also surged on Wednesday. Toyota shares were up almost 10%, Nissan by 6.5%, while Honda shares up by over 8%. And the United States and Indonesia have reached a trade deal that will significantly reduce tariffs and open new opportunities for American businesses in Southeast Asia. Under the deal, Indonesia will eliminate more than 99% of tariff and non-tariff barriers on U.S. goods, including industrial technology and agricultural products. In exchange, the U.S. will lower a proposed 32% tariff on Indonesian imports to 19%, though goods suspected of transshipment or dodge duties will face a 40% rate. The agreement also secures broader market access for American companies. Indonesia will remove export restrictions on key critical minerals like nickel, copper and cobalt. Additionally, Indonesia has agreed to drop plans for tariffs on cross-border data flows and will support the World Trade Organization's moratorium on e-commerce duties. And US President Trump also announced a trade deal with the Philippines. Earlier, Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. met Trump in the White House. Marcos is the first Southeast Asian leader to meet Trump in his second term. Trump has already struck trade deals with Vietnam and Indonesia, but had been driving tough bargains in talks even with close allies. Washington needs to keep on side in its strategic rivalry with China. And for more, we have Akshay Dongre joining us. Well, Akshay, how significant is this trade deal for US-Japan relations as it includes huge investments by Japan in the US? And what are the broader implications for global trade alliances, especially with the EU now entering the negotiations also?
Well, Lipakshi, becoming quite difficult as far as, trying to make sense of everything that's happening when it comes to the trade deal that's taking place with the US, because what once was the largest economy, one of the beacon of free market, has taken a complete 180-degree turn, and now we are the entire world is in fact trying to negotiate their place as far as the US market and trade with it is concerned, vis-a-vis the kind of implications that it may have for the trade. So when it comes to Japan, clearly what we are seeing a $550 billion investment. Along with that, there is clearly going to be a 15% tariff, which has been lowered from before. When it comes to the Japanese goods, for Indonesia, it is 19%. For Philippines, it's different. So it's all depending as far as their relation with the US is concerned on how the trade is going to take place as far as the two sides are concerned. So we'll have to wait and watch that once the implementation begins, how the other world leaders are going to take cues from it. But you have rightly mentioned that this is finally happening as far as many of the countries are concerned, especially the closest allies of the US are now starting to fall in line as far as their trade is concerned. Because irrespective of the policies that are being changed by Donald Trump, one thing remains clear, especially for the closest allies of the US, that US still remains the biggest market, and without the support of the US market, the exports of these countries may not do as well. So that is one concern as of now. But it's a huge reciprocity that Japan has also offered, given the close relation it has, because of $550 billion worth of investment that is going to take from Japan to the US. The profits, most of them are going to the US. So, as far as the Donald Trump policies are concerned, they seem to be working as of now in the favor of the US. Majorly, and that seems to be, in a way, Donald Trump getting back to the countries for what he claims what he claimed or has been claiming, that countries have been misusing the market policies of the US. But how sustainable it is going to be for a long term, that remains the question, because Donald Trump is in his second term already. There is a limit to how many terms a president can do in the US. Right. So when the next president comes, the trade policies change. So how sustainable this entire method is going to be, that remains a big question. But one thing that Donald Trump has showed is that the market of the US still remains so much relevant that the US government has made countries go way out of their line in order to please the US market, please the US president and the government as well. Back to you, Lipakshi.
Absolutely. Also, Akshay, what are the strategic implications of Indonesia if we talk about, it is also lifting restrictions on the critical minerals and supporting the WTO's e-commerce moratorium, especially in the context of US competition with China in this particular region?
Well, it has quite a lot of geopolitical implications, Lipakshi, because first and foremost, China has had some of the largest reserves of these rare minerals. That has also been helping in skyrocketing of the Chinese tech development or tech infrastructure, evolving, and many would argue that it has become even more superior to the US. Rare minerals had a special place in all of this development. Many of these rare minerals are used in semiconductors, artificial intelligence, equipment, advanced manufacturing, etc. So while the US has been eyeing these, or rather has been dependent on the Chinese export of these rare minerals, recently we have seen that the cooperation between the two as far as rare minerals is concerned has not been going down well. So whenever Donald Trump threatened the Chinese government with anything, they used to come back with rare minerals. So the US had to ensure the supply of rare minerals, which is dependable. So earlier it tried Russia when we heard the Trump administration trying to negotiate with Russia and Ukraine both for rare minerals, and that was not the only avenue. The US government has been trying to look for various exporters of rare minerals so that its supply chain remains robust. So with Indonesia dropping its export restrictions clearly is a huge geopolitical victory for the US, especially when it comes to strategy and supply of these continuous supply rather of these very important rare minerals that are essential not only in tech revolution but also in modern warfare. Back to you.
Absolutely a geopolitical victory for the US indeed. Thank you so much, Akshay, for all those details. And moving on, ahead of negotiations with Russia this week, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Tuesday said that securing a ceasefire and the release of prisoners remain the top priorities. Peace talks between Ukraine and Russia, the first in 7 weeks, are planned to start on Wednesday in Turkey. The two sides previously met in May and June but failed to agree on end to the nearly 3.5-year conflict. Zelensky also said Ukraine and its partners were working to organize a leaders' peace summit and secure the return of civilians and children detained by Russia. Over the past 5 months, Ukraine and Russia have held 2 rounds of talks in Istanbul and agreed to swap prisoners, but made no breakthroughs in ending the conflict.
Нарада з нашою переговорною командою Рустем Умєров очолить делегацію на наступну зустріч з російською стороною. Ми узгодили, що саме має бути аджендою зустрічі, які теми ключові для України, звільнення наших людей з російського полону має продовжуватись. І зараз, саме зараз, вже почались необхідні процедури для нового обміну. Ми завтра чекаємо наших людей. І я дуже сподіваюся, що завтра все нам вдасться. Ми стараємось, зокрема, завдяки нашим партнерам, міжнародним посередникам, стараємось забезпечити звільнення також цивільних заручників і повернення наших дітей, які були викрадені Росією.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff is traveling to the West Asia as Washington tries again to secure a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce told reporters on Tuesday that Witkoff was going with a strong hope of helping finalize a ceasefire deal and set up a new humanitarian corridor.
Special Envoy Witkoff is heading to the region now, to the Gaza area. We all have, as the President and the Secretary and the Envoy, a strong hope that we will come forward with another ceasefire, as well as a humanitarian corridor for aid to flow, that both sides have in fact agreed to this.
Well, talks between Israel and Hamas have been going on for weeks in Qatar. The U.S. has proposed a 60-day ceasefire during which Hamas would release some hostages, Israel would free Palestinian prisoners, and more aid would enter Gaza. Talks on a permanent peace would begin during this period. And U.S. President Donald Trump said CBS parent company Paramount paid $16 million as part of a lawsuit settlement. This month, Paramount agreed to settle a lawsuit filed by Trump claiming that the CBS News program 60 Minutes deceptively edited an interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris that the network broadcast in October. Paramount needs approval from the Federal Communication Commission for its $8.4 billion merger with Skydance Media. The FCC did not make a decision by the 180-day informal deadline in mid-May, and FCC Chair Brendan Carr has denied Trump's lawsuit was a factor. Trump and CBS formally agreed on Tuesday to the dismissal of his lawsuit, according to a court filing. And Coca-Cola on Tuesday laid out plans to launch a new product made with cane sugar in the US this year and beat estimates for quarterly results on resilient demand for zero-calorie drinks, as well as higher prices. Food companies are seeking healthier substitutes as they respond to Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s Make America Healthy Again campaign. Last week, President Donald Trump said Coca-Cola had agreed to use real cane sugar in the US. Coca-Cola already sells Coke made from cane sugar in other markets, including Mexico. The switch to cane sugar will also drive up cost, including significant adjustments to supply chains, industry analysts have said. Coca-Cola reiterated that the hit to cost due to global trade dynamics remained manageable. About 61% of its revenue comes from overseas markets. The company has said it will look at affordable packaging options such as plastic bottles when Trump imposed a 25% duty on aluminium imports. And Ozzy Osbourne, the legendary frontman of heavy metal group Black Sabbath, died on Tuesday at the age of 76, just weeks after he gave an epic farewell concert. The hell-raising singer, who was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2019, passed away just over a fortnight after playing a final gig before a sold-out crowd in his home city of Birmingham, England. Osbourne was instrumental in pioneering heavy metal, an offshoot of hard rock, as Black Sabbath enjoyed huge commercial success in the 1970s and 80s after forming in Birmingham in 1968. Black Sabbath went on to sell more than 75 million albums worldwide and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006. Osbourne was added for a second time last year as a solo artist. And you're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sports news with the series on the line. All eyes now shift to Old Trafford, Manchester, where England and India are set to lock horns in the crucial fourth test. It's a venue that has historically offered no favours to the visitors. India, with injuries in the squad, can India rewrite history, or will England seal another home series? Here's a report.
The historic Old Trafford Stadium in Manchester gears up to host the fourth test of the five-match series between India and England. With hosts leading 2-1, this match could prove decisive and daunting for India. India has never tasted victory at Old Trafford. It's not just the venue that's challenging for India, there's a growing injury concern as well. All-rounder Nitish Reddy and pacer Arshdeep Singh have suffered injuries while training for the test. Reddy has been ruled out of the remainder of the series. Rishabh Pant, who hurt his finger during the third test, may only be fit to bat and not keep the wickets. Anshul Kamboj has been called up and may debut in the fourth test, hinting at changes in the pace unit with Arshdeep Singh also sidelined. The top order sees no major shuffle. Yashasvi Jaiswal and KL Rahul are expected to open. Shubman Gill holds his spot at number 4, while the all-rounder unit of Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar is expected to remain unchanged. Jasprit Bumrah leads the bowling attack. With multiple frontline pacers out, all eyes will be on Anshul Kamboj and the support cast of Mohammad Siraj.
जस्सी भाई तो खेलेंगे अभी तो यही पता है बट जैसा कॉम्बिनेशन में डे बाय डे चेंज हो रही है तो हम लोग का एक ही प्लान है कि जितना हो सके जैसा इंग्लैंड की बैटिंग अटैक है तो हम लोग का ये एक ही प्लान है कि जितना हो सके हम लोग एक गुड एरियाज में डालिए और वहां पर हिट करें क्योंकि उन लोग ज्यादा पेशेंस से खेले क्योंकि लास्ट मैच आप देखेंगे बहुत ज्यादा पेशेंस से खेले तो हम लोग को भी अच्छा लगा कि ये हाँ भाई सही ये टेस्ट क्रिकेट का मजा अब आ रहा है.
England will be confident. They have dominated at home and now just stand one win away from sealing another series. England has made just one change to its playing 11 with all-rounder Liam Dawson replacing the injured Shoaib Bashir.
Yeah, obviously we're in a strong position. We're happy with the way that the games have gone so far. They've been tense. They've been good to watch. And yeah, we're looking forward to this week. Like I said, India's such a good side that they can bounce back at any stage. We saw that after beating them at Headingley, they've bounced back and had an excellent performance at Edgbaston. So yeah, we've got to go out there, try and do our thing, and hopefully it's better than theirs.
With India trailing the series and history stacked against them at the Old Trafford, the fourth test isn't just about squaring the series, it's about defying the odds. Can India finally conquer Manchester, or will England continue their dominance at home? Sports Desk, DD India.
All right, and for more, we have DD India's Naran Singh joining us. Well, Naran, the blockbuster match awaited today. Tell us what all is expected.
Lipakshi, a big challenge for the Indian team, as we know that in this century, England lost only 2 times at Manchester. One is against Pakistan and one is against Australia. And India has never won a test match at Manchester's Old Trafford. So a big challenge. And also we take a look, so far 157 5-match test series has been played, and only twice this has happened. A team trailing after 3 matches has bounced back and won the series. So it's a big challenge for the Indian team, but we know that this Indian team has the potential to bounce back, and still they have the chance to win the series because this is the 4th match at Manchester. After that, the next test match will be played at the Oval. So if India wins both the test match, they can just seal the series. But as I mentioned, that a big challenge. But in the series, they need to learn from their mistakes. If we take a look so far, the first test match at the Leeds, where 5 Indian batsmen scored century in the same test match. The 500s were there in the first test match at Leeds. But despite of that fact, India lost that match at Leeds, and the way they bounced back in the Edgbaston, Birmingham, we saw that India never won a match at the Birmingham, but they changed the history at the Birmingham at Edgbaston, and they won that match single. We can say that in a one-way fashion. But again, at the Lords, we saw that India was in a winning position, but there were few mistakes, there were few confusion, especially the run out of the Rishabh Pant. We saw that it was, I think, the unwanted run they took, and because of that, India lost that match. But most importantly here, I think that India gave 63 extra runs in the Lords Test match, and in comparison to England's 30. And the margin of win was 22 runs. So that was the big thing. And we know that the small things make big differences. Actually, that happened at the Lords. India could have played with a better approach. Ravindra Jadeja was there for 181 balls. So he could have also, we can say that, played the different approach between singles and doubles. He should have gone for the boundaries in the middle of that. But in this discussion, if we are not discussing the England's players, especially Ben Stokes and Jofra Archer, the story will not be the complete. Definitely on the final day, the way Jofra Archer and Ben Stokes played, the way they bowled, definitely kudos to them. But it's going to be a thriller of the contest at here in Manchester.
All right, Naran, thank you so much for all that update, and we'll keep taking more throughout the day. And moving on, National Broadcasting Day in India is celebrated on July 23rd to commemorate the day when All India Radio was established in 1927. On this day in 1927, the first ever radio broadcast in the country went on air from the Bombay station under a private company, the Indian Broadcasting Company. Take a listen. On the 8th of June 1936, the Indian State Broadcasting Service became All India Radio. The Central News Organization came into existence in August 1937, but after a few years, it was split up into 2 divisions, the News Services Division and the External Services Division. In 1956, the name Akashvani was adopted for the national broadcaster. The Vivid Bharati service was launched in 1957 with popular film music as its main component. Since 1927, radio has been an important part of people's life in the country. It played a crucial role in promoting national unity, disseminating information, and preserving cultural heritage. Over the years, All India Radio has expanded its reach through technological advancements, including satellite radio, FM stations, and digital platforms. Its programming focuses on education, public service, and entertainment, catering to diverse linguistic and cultural backgrounds. All India Radio has significantly impacted Indian society and culture, promoting national integration and providing a platform for local voices.
We are on the verge of celebrating 90 years of the Voice of the Nation, All India Radio or Akashvani, one of the greatest broadcasting institutions in the world. On the other hand, just a year after that, in 2027, we shall celebrate the centenary of the first radio broadcast in India on the 23rd of July 2027. Over the last 9 decades, Akashvani has been reaching out to loyal listeners offering information, education, and healthy entertainment. Since 1936, All India Radio, as it was known then, or Akashvani, has been preserving and propagating India's rich culture and traditions. And not just that, it has been connecting people at large with the journey of scientific progress across the country.
Akashvani has been serving to inform, educate and entertain the masses, truly living up to its motto, Bahujan Hitaya, Bahujan Sukhaya. Bureau Report, DD India. Also, July 23rd marks as a special day in Indian history as nation pays tribute to its freedom fighters born on this day. Internationalist Bal Gangadhar Tilak was born on 23rd of July in 1856. He was a teacher, journalist and independent activist. Bal Gangadhar Tilak was the Indian independence movement's first leader. He was also given the title of Lokmanya, which means accepted as a leader by the people. He was dubbed the maker of modern India by Mahatma Gandhi. Bal Gangadhar Tilak was a strong leader in Indian consciousness and one of the first and strongest supporters of Swaraj, that means self-rule. Tilak was charged with murder incitement and received an 18-month sentence. He was respected as a martyr and a national hero when he was released from jail in modern-day Mumbai. After this, he declared Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. Tilak encouraged the Swadeshi and boycott movements. And another fearless revolutionary, Chandrasekhar Azad, was also born on this day. His indomitable courage, patriotic fervour and ultimate sacrifice for Bharat Mata continues to inspire Indians. Azad lived and died with the resolve of never being captured alive, a symbol of unyielding resistance to colonial rule. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.